Hey there. So yesterday when I said that I was going back to the healing work, I also said I would share more of the stories about how I've come to this realization and be why I'm trusting it. Um Actually, I didn't say those things, but I'm going to say those things. So for those of you who don't know me, beginning back in 2009, 2010, I began doing direct laying on of hands on humans and animals, and I touched people and cured shit. Without any background in religion, spirituality, no desire of any of that. In fact, I didn't even have the desire to go to the class, the quantum touch class that gave me it wasn't an aha moment. It was an oh shit moment, where I laughed hysterically and proceeded to change my entire world. I didn't want to go to that class. I had to go to that class. I argued, I cussed, but there was absolutely nothing within me that could say no. Nothing. No matter how I thought people would judge me, no matter how I thought people would think I was crazy, I went. And I had my oh shit moment. That was a series of many, 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 many other shit moments for years. And for much of that time, from 2010 until 2017, I spent going where I was led. Going where I was led was sometimes intuitive, but almost always was direct communication, requests, and demands through dreams and visions. At the time, when this all began, I was not working directly with ancestors, and I wasn't quite sure where the information was coming, except as it came. There was nothing within me that could say no. When I would touch something or somebody, I would trust immediately my own knowings and how the body spoke to me, how the psyche spoke to me, how all things spoke to me about the person or being who was directly in front of me. I did that for years, from October 2013 until January of 2019. I primarily lived on the road, crisscrossing the country, living out of a Mini Cooper and people's couches, and that kind of thing. Again, following the visions. There was nothing within me that could say no. I never knew how it was going to work out. I was almost always angry about it until things dots started connecting, and I could get like a sense of a bigger picture. And that came to a screeching halt back in 2019, mostly because I had settled in southwestern Colorado. I didn't know anybody, and I needed income, so I needed a job and had to do all the things. And at the time, the things didn't really include doing the healing work on a regular basis. I did it for a while when a therapist in Telluride referred people to me, but nothing really kicked in. And not in December, it was on December 24th of 2021, I had encounters with Mother Mary and others who made it very clear that I was no longer going to do the healing work. I had a full-on temper tantrum with the universe and with God, called them everything but the child of, and was devastated. Because the healing work for me is it's really hard to put it in words. It's hard enough to put the ineffable in words, but it's also harder to express the depths of which I am that and how I feel it, especially when I'm with an individual one-on-one. Anyhow, I did try it again when I got back to Telluride, and I tried last in August of 2023, and it just didn't take off, in part because I broke my foot and couldn't maneuver around town. I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't have stable home. I didn't have anything that would support that. And last spring, there was something within me that just said, okay, I give. I will stop even trying. And at the time, although I didn't feel what others would call like a sense of relief, what I felt was an energetic release. And I thought that that meant I was done. I thought there was this full-on transition of moving from hands-on healing work where I touched people and cured shit to the healing coming out through paintings. Turns out it's not limited to paintbrushes and colors and canvases or even my hands. It's all and then some. And a few weeks ago, I began having flashes of elements of somebody else's art. And I did not know it when I was seeing them. And when I say seeing them, visions, like visual things with my eyes closed but wide awake. And so what I do, I just write everything down. And I don't have the energy to expend and trying to figure it all out. I don't do that anymore, although I used to. And anyhow, it became clear that I was being directed to a bar here in Telluride for a job. And I thought, okay, does the owner really need another bartender? Like, I know he's got two. I'm like, well, I don't know. So I ended up at the bar. I knew exactly when to go. Went without hesitation. I went with my eyebrow up like, come on, really? At a bar. Which is not unusual, really. But still, after being away from it for a while, I'm like, really? So anyhow, I go to the bar. I get a glass of wine. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm feeling out what the owner is talking about. I know him, and know the rhythms and all of this. And I'm like, he doesn't need anybody. What the heck am I doing here? I met a couple from Central Texas. They were lovely. We had great conversation. And I was like, is it about one of them? Nope. And a few minutes later, a young lady and her mother from North Florida, sat down next to me on my right. And I thought, oh, here we go. I felt something, but I don't start talking about this kind of thing in front of everybody, because you just don't know how folks are going to respond. And I was enjoying myself at that point and didn't want to be in the position to unenjoy myself. And this young lady, after we did all the meet and greet things, she says, you know, usually when my mom comes here, she has a really good time, but she's not feeling so great this time. She's really struggling. And my head just turned and I looked to my right, and what flew out of my mouth was, that's because the mountains are bringing forth all that needs to be healed for your mother, and I'm the mechanism for that. She said, okay. Okay. Now, we didn't tell her mom right away. But the original plan was, okay, well then this is why I'm here. This is why we're connecting. And so what we'll do, because we're at a bar, we'll just make arrangements to get together tomorrow. No, we're leaving tomorrow morning. Oh. Okay. So we get Mom to drink some water and get some sustenance in her belly to help fuel whatever energy that she might need. And I said, ma'am, I need to put my hands on you. And she's like, okay. I just want you to know I'm a Christian, but okay. And incredibly open to it. And I laid my hands over her heart, and the world went whoosh, as it does. And the next thing I know, there is the lady from Texas has joined us. And I'm like, okay, was not prepared for this either. And it didn't last long. Certainly less than 10 minutes, maybe not even more than 5. And Texas says to me, or she whispers kind of loudly so we can both hear it. She says, are we having a God moment? And I said, yes, ma'am. And so I took my hands off of Mom, who's the older woman from Florida, and without even looking at me, what came out of her mouth was, this is your job. With that tone, like there's no arguing about this. This is your job. She's not the one who said it. And I went and I sat back down with my glass of wine, and I was like, really? Because like you pulled me away from this. And I was annoyed. It wasn't like, oh, look at how all of these things connected. Look at all of these elements, particularly calla lilies that are in this other artist's work regularly. How that, oh, they're right there, oh, the flame of the candle that's sitting right in front of me. Can't deny that. Can't deny what just happened, but now I'm denying, yeah, it's not my job. Somebody's like, what's the thing that, I was like getting pranked. It was like getting, and I'm like, However, because these ones know fully well how my brain works, overlapped visions related to a dog, and then immediately gave me a dream sending me to a lovely four-legged creature named Olive. I have known Olive very briefly. See her in the morning at work, and I give her treats. 2 if she's lucky. And I walked in, and Doggy Mama said, I said, hey, I had this dream, and then she said, oh, Olive just got diagnosed with cancer. And I said, oh, that's what the dream was about. Oh, and so we proceed to do the thing, not there in the moment, but within a couple of days. And a voice came through very clearly one morning, said, now do you see? Yes, but because my brain's just like, okay, how are we gonna make this work? It didn't work last time. Well, I mean, it worked, but it didn't work for me in terms of building a business. I couldn't market this. I still don't know how to give language to the ineffable that is whole and honest and true without manipulating verbiage around theoretical physics to make it more sciencey. Or more legitimate in eyes of anybody. And the messaging has been very, very, not messaging, it's conversations with God, very, very clear, like seed the way. Seed the way. I do this. I do it my way. You don't do it your way. I make it happen. You follow. I lead. You follow. And I'm like, all right. Here we are. Better but different. Different but better for everybody. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I do know one of the shifts for this is that I'm not hemming and hawing around money. There is a single scale. I will be working with people who will pay whatever they can between $100 and $300. The sessions are going to be the same as usual. We're together for an hour and a half to 3 hours, sometimes a little more. We don't have control over that. I'm not going to define it much, except to say, while I go to turn off the oven timer that I'm using before I have to go roll this painting that you may or may not be able to see. Again, I don't know exactly what this looks like. I do know that it requires another sea change in my world. I need to find another place to live. I need to do all of the things except the things that the rest of the universe is taken care of. I have always preferred to work with people hands-on. However, remote work is just as effective, and for some people it's actually more effective because they don't feel like they have to perform. They can be more open and vulnerable when they're by themselves. However, there is something very tangibly different when there is physical contact. And what I'm really drawn to say now is this. There is something profoundly different when another being feels the physical touch of love and can actively participate in receiving the living water. That's what this is. There's no mumbo jumbo, there's no preaching, there's no judgment, there's no nothing other than me loving on you for a little while. And physical illness and mental illness just disappears. No one ever needs to see me more than 3 times. Except they want to experience the yum, as we used to call it. I won't do that anymore. But that's how it's been in the past. Now this is super focused. And the focus of coming back into things fully is this joining of me doing the hands-on healing work, or remote, paralleled with the missing and murdered Indigenous women's work. I was profoundly hurt when I felt forced away from the healing work. And the depth of grief, raw, unadulterated grief held by the ground that came through me when I felt like I was being forced from the missing and murdered Indigenous women's work, are so... that's the only way to describe them in the that anyone else will understand. And in one of my conversations with God relatively recently, he said, well, he was trying to explain that seasons are not just our, limited 3-month, quadrants of the year. And I felt that I had been pulled from that because I was trying to force something in the wrong season. And it was just finally made clear that I couldn't do all of the things to try to take care of myself with the real job. I couldn't go through the Kundalini processes that I'm going through. I couldn't process all the physiologic, psychologic, and other energetic and spiritual connections, all while doing all of that other stuff. There's absolutely no way that one body and mind can do that. And so things have shifted in a way that they come back, and this is not a singular focus because I'm still doing all the things, but I'm doing all of the things in a way that weaves them together. And even I don't understand that yet, except to say, I'm back, and am stupid excited. There will be more. I'm going to update the website soon. If you have questions, just ask them. There are no stupid questions in this. There's no need to either believe or disbelieve. That's never been a requirement. I've never understood why there is this line of thinking and line of teaching in many circles that's like, you must believe for it to work. And I'm like, but no, it's going to work. Like, it doesn't require a dog or a horse or a guinea pig or a bearded dragon don't have belief or disbelief, right? They just accept the energy and are like, woohoo, we're done. There isn't that. There aren't requirements for this. There aren't requirements for love. And that is what this is. I'm just going to put my hands on you, love on you a little bit, and things will get better. Sometimes spontaneously, and sometimes it takes a few weeks. Mostly not. There you have it. So yeah, visions leading me right on back. And God with an eyebrow up, like, duh. So yeah. Holler if you have questions. There aren't any stupid ones. Thanks, bye.